How are you? Welcome to the show.
Hello guys, I'm Ducker. I'm very fine, and I hope to show you guys all the glitches, all the skips, and all the fights without dying so much, and have a good time with my partner here. So, hello Carter.
Hello, Duclear. Welcome. Thanks so much for having us, Jiggy. I'm really excited to show off this run.
I'm definitely excited. I'm definitely excited for Demon Souls. This is a game that I was searching for a good runner. I was searching for somebody that could show this off because I wanted to have have Demon Souls in the event. And yeah, I mean we're at 21 deaths this entire event, so we'll see where we're at after this, Duclear.
Yeah, probably a little more because there are skips that requires us to die. So
Yeah, we're
I will
actually going to die a
definitely
few
gonna die.
times, even in the best case scenario. So
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right, whenever
Keep that
you
counter
are
ready.
I'm
Okay.
ready. I got it.
Just to remind before the run, this is the PS5 version, not the PS3 original. So this is the remake. And okay, Carter can explain the rest in the run.
Yeah, definitely tell us a little bit about the Nobo tech part too.
Sure. Yeah, we'll cover it all as we go. There's lots to talk about in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna finalize my character creation, but don't start the timer yet. You need to wait me to skip the tutorial. So I'm gonna press X. So this is the tutorial page. I'm gonna say no, and then you guys start the timer, okay? So 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to Demon Souls, the game so nice. They made it twice. We're going to start in the Nexus, and we're going to immediately run to the first world. That's the Gates of Boletaria. This is a very fast-paced run, especially at the beginning. We're going to use basically all the tech we have right off the bat. So I'll explain as much as I can as we go, and then I'll add some more detail later. The first thing that we're going to do is Duke is going to round the corner here, and he's going to take out a random enemy. And what we're looking for is an item called Pine Resin. That's going to buff our weapon, and if we get it...
Nice.
Very nice. Love that marathon luck. That's going to make one of the boss fights a little later on go even smoother. So here we're making our way through Boletaria. Basically just a quick overview is we have to go to many worlds in this game to slay all the demons and purge the fog that threatens to envelop the land. The first one we can get to is this one. We're going to make our way to the boss as quick as we can, and we're going to take a pretty interesting pathway to get there. First, we're going to round this corner, and then Duke's going to pull off the first minor skip that we have in the run, which is called, we just kind of call it Boulder Skip. Essentially, he's going to do a pretty precise roll in order to avoid this trap and make it up and around the corner. Takes a little bit of a precise landing, and he nailed it. Great job, Duke.
Heck yeah.
So now it's going to get really silly. So we are going to stand in front of this box, and we're going to quit out on purpose, and we're going to change the game settings.
No,
Actually, we don't change the settings here. Yeah, we just do this one in performance mode, huh?
Yeah.
But
it's
so now
faster.
we're out of bounds. And basically what we're doing here is we're taking advantage of load times. Some of the textures and some of these beautiful little game assets that Bluepoint developed when they remade Demon Souls have a little bit of a funny idea about how quickly they should spawn in. And so what we can do is by quitting out and sort of manipulating these load times, we can step into objects before they load and get into all kinds of places where we're not supposed to be, including this beautiful garden and this invisible floor. Duke with perfect placement there on that roll. That's actually a very tricky skip.
Yeah, this is really hard, actually.
Yeah, great job. That's a tricky one. So now we're going to quit out again to do the same thing with this pole here. And Duke's going to walk into the pole, and then the pole is going to load, and it's going to shoot his character up above onto this object that now has collision, and we're going to walk out to the end of it, quit out, and then when we load back in, we are going to die on purpose. So I guess the kill counter is going to go up by 1 here, but this one's perfectly intentional. And
22.
basically... 22. And basically what this does is we've managed to walk out of bounds out of the first level and into the second level. And then by dying on purpose there, the game thinks that we're in the second level, so it spawns us at the start of the second level, which is this boss fight at the end of the first level. So now we have the Phalanx fight. We're gonna throw some fire bombs and hopefully not take too many of these spears to the face. And Duke's going to then get a little closer. Oh, that's looking good. Very nice execution there, and we'll finish her off with some fireballs. Sometimes these little phalanxes can be pretty unfriendly. They like to be very stabby and get in the way of our quest to slay the demon, but, oh, gotta go around the column here. And there we go, that's the phalanx. Great job, and that wraps up World 1-1. So now we're back at the Nexus with our first demon taken out in like, I don't know, 3 minutes or something. And the first thing we're going to do at the Nexus is buy a dagger. If you recall the pine resin that we picked up in the last level, that's going to be combined with the dagger for a strategy on the next boss. And now we're making our way up to the Monumental. To cover a little bit of every speedrunner's favorite aspect, the lore, basically the situation here is that the whole world has come under the thrall of the demons. They control the power of souls, and our king, King Alant, who we'll meet in a little bit, has gone mad with soul fever. He's allowed most of the world to fall under the dominion of the archdemons, and it falls to us to basically go slay all the archdemons. We have a minor skip here that's going to let us skip a little bit of the dialogue from the Monumentals, where they explain basically what I just said. And now we're making our way to the second world to slay the next archdemon.
And by the way, I started with the wrong dodge animation, but that's okay.
Yeah, we usually want to start with I guess we want the male character's dodge animation, is that right?
Yeah, I started with the female, but I'm gonna make it with this. It's okay.
Yeah, we'll be okay. So here we're in the Prison of Hope. Miyazaki, the Soul's head honcho, once said in an interview that his vision of this map was the embodiment of man-made evil. So we're going to try and spend as little time here as possible. Really good execution there. Again, quitting out so that that coffin loads in slowly, and then we can use the coffin to boost over the ledge and get basically through the entire level in like 10 seconds. Normally you have to go collect a bunch of keys, run up and down stairs, and do all kinds of stuff, but we just stand on top of a coffin and then take a leap of faith. Now here we have a tricky part. I'm going to stop talking so Duke can listen.
Okay, I didn't got it, but I'm alive.
Yeah, that was good. Nice recovery there. That's a very tricky skip, and that's not even a speedrun trick. That's actually sort of a game intended challenge there, rolling through those arrows. It requires some pretty precise timing, and it's especially tricky in the speedrun because you may have noticed we needed to pick up an item there. That's the Clever Rat's Ring, which those of you Dark Souls heads may recognize as the RTSR ring. Basically what that does is it increases our damage when our health is very low. So it's a high risk, high reward kind of item, and that's going to speed things up in terms of taking out these bosses very quickly throughout the run. So here we're going to do some menuing at the door. We're going to run down this hallway. We need to grab a key here. The key is going to be important for the greatest skip in any Souls speedrun coming up after this boss. I'll explain that a little bit more later. But we grab the key, we quit out, and that's going to reset our position at the beginning of this hallway because that hallway is, spoiler alert, actually part of this boss fight. Now we're going to take another leap of faith. We're going to grab... Actually, do you grab this item, Duke?
Yeah.
It's kind of optional. There's a couple of these spread around. But yeah, we're going to drop down here. We're going to Neo from the Matrix a couple crossbow bolts here and enter the Fool's Idol boss fight. This is one of my favorite bosses in the run. The strategy is just really satisfying to pull off. It requires some precise timing, and basically what we're going to do is put pine resin on the dagger that we bought, probably take out one or two of these dreglings for safety. Yeah, good call. And then with some very precise timing, we can essentially stun lock the boss so that she can't do anything. And once again, I'll let Duke focus here. couple of fireballs should finish her off. Very good. Perfect fight. Sometimes
That
she
was
can do
crazy.
some weird stuff, but yeah, that strategy is really, really satisfying. I think someone at one point mapped it out and found that to do it, you need to be attacking her between 76 and 78 beats per minute. So maybe you can go find a song that's at that tempo and use that to perfect the fight. I don't know. I just failed at it a lot of times until I eventually figured it out. So here we have the greatest skip of all time. This is Frake skip. This is a really wonky skip. I'm being a little sarcastic when I say it's great. That first part looked good. Essentially what we do is we quit out, we walk into this gate, the gate loads in, it boosts us out of bounds into the wall, and then we need to walk into this area, and then we get boosted again. Sometimes it'll shoot you all the way up to the roof, and other times you need to sort of manipulate it a little bit. But if it works...
Oh, nice.
Perfect, nice. Now we're up on top of the Prison of Hope. This is one reason why I actually do really love this skip, is because this gets you a phenomenal view of this level. It's really beautiful and pretty terrifying. Some parkour here to get down to where Sage Frake is in his cell. And then with the key we grabbed before the Fool's Idol fight, we unlock the door, and we're gonna go have a chat with him. He's going to be under the impression that we're his friend, who just busted him out of jail and are now going to become his sorcerer's apprentice. But as you'll see in just a little while, that may or may not end up being the case.
That was like
So-
a really nice Frake skip. I was afraid
Yeah,
that I
that
was
was-
going
that
to... Yeah.
That was very clean. It's a pretty RNG heavy skip. There's a lot that can go wrong there, but thankfully Duke pulled it off perfectly. And now we're making our way into 4-1. This is another level where I just really love the design, both in original and in remake. And we're gonna do some pretty sketchy rolling and running for our life to get away from these skeletons. Nicely done. And Duke's not gonna quit out here. You can quit out in that little area if you want. To just reset the skeletons. That's a pretty common technique you see in From Software speedruns, is quitting out to reset where the enemies are. But I guess Duke is being a true speed guy here, and we're not gonna do that. So this is another kind of precise parkour skip. Interestingly, this skip was actually in original Demon Souls and was not
Okay.
fixed or redone in any way for the remake. So basically we're trying to roll onto that brick, and then we can jump over the castle and skip the entire level that way.
This is actually very easy, but for some reason I messed it up 3 times. But okay. I guess it's because the different row. Or...
Yeah, that kind of happens to me too. It's like if I miss it once, then it takes me 20 tries. As you could see, Duke's taking some intentional hits from the trap there. That's to put his HP in Clever Rat territory so that his damage goes up. And now we're gonna round the corner here and take out the Adjudicator from behind. We need to avoid his Lickitung attacks, and with some clever positioning here, yep, we avoid that one. Now we should be in good shape. Looks like he's gonna attack one more time. Nice dodge. That's the worst RNG you can possibly get from this boss. He has like 3 or 4 different things that he can do, and that one can be pretty problematic, so really well played there by Declear. Now, back to the Nexus. We are finally going to level up. And spoiler alert, we're going to be leveling up magic. We're basically going to do a full magic run for the rest of the speed run because magic is extremely overpowered in this game. And so we're juicing up magic and intelligence so that we can cast some more advanced spells. We give the Adjudicator Soul to Sage Frake, and we're going to get Soul Ray and Cloak. Cloak is important for avoiding some enemy aggro later on. And big thanks to our friend, Frake, who we definitely are not going to betray at any point in this run.
Definitely.
For teaching us the Soul Ray. And now, it's Man-Eater time, chat. We're going to make our way through Upper Latria, a couple of really cool skips in this segment. The first one is coming up once we enter this tower. It goes by many names, some of which are of varying degrees of appropriateness for a marathon commentary. So I think we'll call it Heart Skip this time. Basically, you may remember that the kind of central idea of this level is that there's a path straight up to the boss, but it's blocked by this sort of Lovecraftian flesh horror tentacle heart thing. and it's meant to make you explore the whole level and go hit a couple of bells, I think. They're bells or traps or something that release the chains and then free your path. But to be honest, I don't even really remember how you're supposed to do this level the intended way, because we are going to do something radically different. First, we're going to quit out here, and then we're going to move the camera into cinematic mode. That's going to cause this torch in front of us to load in slowly. It's a little tricky, the positioning here, but Duke's a master. So he's going to walk up there, he rolls over there, and then perfect. With just some precise running, we can actually just walk right over the heart.
This skip you use it to be like way easier on the first patch of the game, but they patched it, and then we found another way to do it.
Yeah, this was kind of an evolutionary arms race between ourselves and Bluepoint, because they kept trying to patch this skip and we kept finding new and crazier ways to pull it off. And I think the game's probably at the end of its patch cycle now. Fingers crossed. I don't know what's going to happen with the PS5 Pro. I'm pretty sure we've cracked the case and basically can skip almost 6 minutes using that skip. And now we have an even crazier skip, chat. As many of you know, this is one of the trickiest boss fights in Demon's Souls. It can be pretty annoying. Their AI is weird, their attacks have huge hitboxes, and to make matters worse, you have to fight 2 of them at a time. So we don't really have time for any of that. We're gonna just sort of run to the end of the arena, and now we're gonna do something extra bonkers, which is we're gonna leap off of the map onto this little out of bounds ledge. We're gonna wait and move the camera into the next area. So the game now thinks that we're in the Ivory Tower, the next area. It's gonna deload the entire boss arena. Duclear quits out, respawns. Now the game thinks we're in the Ivory Tower, so we kill ourselves again. Let's jack up that kill count, Jiggy.
Let's go. That's at 23.
And that's 23, but we like that death because we basically didn't have to fight the man-eaters at all, and we spawn in at the start of this old monk run-up.
I'm still shocked that chat thought 30, like 30 was gonna be the number. Some people said 10.
I don't know. Yeah, and isn't the last event 4 runners at once?
4 runners at once, randomized, 4 randomized Elden Ring.
I'm sure it'll all be deathless from here on out. I mean, nothing ever goes wrong in speedruns, especially not in a marathon. So here we're running up to the old monk. We're gonna take out this man-eater squid monster here, take a fresh spice so that we have our magic. Now this boss up here is arguably the hardest part of the run. He has some really, really fast attacks and can be just really unfriendly sometimes. What we try to do is manipulate the boss so that he runs into these chairs. It's actually
worse RNG.
Yeah, this is bad RNG, but we'll be okay. He gets stuck on the chairs, hopefully. Oh, look out. All right, we're off to a great start. This is classic marathon old monk, just trolling us from the get-go. But as you can see, when he walks up to the chairs, he sort of stuns himself. He like needs to wait and just like sort of let his anger out. And so we're kind of whittling him down with Soul Rays, trying to avoid all of his attacks. As you can see, he's also a very aggressive boss. Nice opportunity there to get a couple hits in. And we should be able to finish him off with some sword attacks. Very nicely done, Duke. Very good fight.
Okay, this is not a fast fight, but I was trying to play safe because this is a marathon.
Yeah, I think you handled that very well. That was also a very just unfriendly monk situation altogether, so nicely done. And now we talk to the maiden again. We're going to get a couple more levels of magic and a couple levels of intelligence that's going to let us equip another spell. So now, chat, we basically have our arsenal for the rest of the run put together. We're going to be using a combination of Homing Soul Arrow, which is why we fight Old Monk so early. He gives us Homing Soul Arrow. And now, to thank Frake for his tutelage and his camaraderie, we're going to assassinate him immediately after we learn the last thing we need from him. And that also gives us a ring that boosts our magic power a little bit. And now we're off to the swamp.
I did a little dupe there after I killed Old Monk, so I could use 8,000 soul 2 times in a row to
Nice,
be able
good
to level
know.
up.
Yeah. there's a few different ways you can manage your souls and your currency in this run. We actually do have a minor dupe glitch. By the way, here's another quick skip. This is using a new technique called a slope quit out. You might know of this from Dark Souls speedruns, use it quite a bit. Basically, if you can run into that wall at the right angle and then quit out, the game is just gonna put you down at the bottom of this slope, and that lets us skip a pretty big amount of this level, so that's a really nice little minor skip there. That one does not require the cat ring, but we're gonna do another slope quit out later on that's going to require us to equip the cat ring, which lowers fall damage. And for that reason, you'll see we take a little detour to pick up the cat ring here in just a little bit. Now we're making our way to the Leechmonger. The Monger is not one of the harder bosses in the fight. He can be a little weird sometimes, but at this point, with homing Soul Arrow, levels in magic and intelligence, and Soul Ray combined, we can pretty much nuke his slimy butt. And yeah, he didn't even notice we were there thanks to the cloak spell. So really nicely done there. Easy boss. Now we make our way into the big swamp. What's this level called? We're about to find out. I always blank on the name of this one.
For me, it's 5-2. I always don't remember that.
Yeah, mostly in our little Demon Souls gang, we've just taken to calling all the levels by numbers. We have another minor skip here. This is just some parkour. You can kind of sneak onto this ledge right here, and then with a well-placed drop, now we're here. This actually skips quite a bit of time because we can jump all the way down into the sludge without wrapping all the way around the level like they want you to. Now we're going to make our way to pick up the cat ring, like I mentioned. It's a little slow going here, so this is actually probably the first instance of downtime in the run. How you feeling, Duke? How's it going?
I'm still anxious, but everything went okay until now.
Yeah,
so
it's been really clean so far. Good frake skip, good monk.
Since we have a lot of time in 5-2, Carter, if you want to explain the difference on why you're doing no bow tech and what actually is bow tech and the other category.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That was my question. What is bow tech?
Right. So bow tech is an even more broken bit of glitchiness that we discovered pretty far into the development of the run. If any of you have watched Berto Please's Demon Souls speedrun from, I think it was SGDQ 2021, you probably saw a very different route because we hadn't discovered a lot of the deloading and boosting and kooky tech that we do here. And bow tech came along after. It's even more broken. Basically, what bow tech lets us do is aim with the bow so that we can walk through walls and into out-of-bounds areas anywhere there's a fog gate. And that opens up some wildly different routing possibilities. So in that category, we actually, after killing Phalanx, we just continue down the first world and fight Tower Knight as the second boss. It ends up with this totally busted, broken route.
We actually won't even fight Phalanx. We go directly to Tower Knight.
Yeah, true. You just sort of pop into the Phalanx arena and then dip out immediately. So another thing Bowtech lets you do is freeze a lot of the boss's AIs. So you can enter the gate without triggering the fight. And then the boss basically just stands there. We can use that to trivialize several of the fights in the run. And that's the reason for the category split, basically. With no bow tech, the route's a little bit less broken, and we have to do more boss fights. So it's a little more action-packed, a little less glitchy. I would say if you're the kind of speedrunner or speed-curious person who is interested mainly in glitches and skipping a lot, and you want to pick up Demon Souls Remake, the unrestricted category is going to be your friend. Whereas if you are more into boss fights and the high stakes action, this category is probably better because you can't freeze the bosses. Here we have a really sketchy area that I didn't mention because I didn't want to make Duke any more nervous, but we got through it okay. All of these little guys can be very scary, and it's really important to use Cloak or Thief Ring. I actually use both just for safety. And now we're entering the Dirty Colossus boss fight. This is a very weird boss. It's pretty easy given our level of damage output, but it can misbehave and he does a lot of weird stuff. You want to get behind him if you can. You want to avoid his melee attacks. and you really want to avoid getting shot by his little fly gun sniper thing on his shoulder. That was really well executed. Good job.
Thanks. And you actually don't want to broke his arm, because if you broke his
That's when
arm,
it starts shooting at you, right?
yeah, then it's mess up the entire strat. But it was nice.
So here we're making our way into the Maiden Estrella boss fight. There's a few different approaches to this boss. You can kill her boyfriend over there on the left and win the fight that way, but for us it's actually quicker to take this path to the right. We're gonna restore some mana here, and then we're gonna drop down into the battle, and with some really careful placement, we're gonna catch the plague on purpose, and that's gonna lower our health into clever rat ring territory again. Then we're gonna cure the plague. Lots of medical aspects to this fight. And then a homing Soul Ray combo twice over should do the trick, and she is out of here. That's another Archdemon down. Duke, not to make you nervous, but this is a really great run.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're doing amazing.
this is a really great
Let's
run,
get
actually.
some hype and claps in the chat.
Yeah.
Whew.
And so now we're going back to Boletaria. So one really interesting thing about Demon Souls that I find really cool as somebody who's into routing and really micro optimizing speedrun routes is that there's actually a few different ways you can plot out this speedrun, because Demon Souls is set up in a way to where you can do the 5 worlds in any order. And because of that, once we get the ability to fast travel through the Archstones, you can actually do the last 3, so I guess World 1, World 4, and World 2 in any order. And in theory, they should come out to be the exact same time. There's a few little minor differences and a few reasons why we might do them in one order or another, but you actually have a lot more routing freedom in this game than you do in some other speedruns, which I think is kind of cool. And here we're making our way through the Lord's Path. This is mostly timing. It's actually pretty scary. You can get shot in the back, and sometimes these little dregling soldiers can get in your business and mess things up. That was actually really good. And then here at the end, it gets extra sketchy. Gonna cast a cloak here to try and avoid some of the enemy aggro. I also noticed Duke's doing this at full health, which is a really good call. I think it's possible to try and set up Clever Rat as you're running through here, but
Yeah, but
only the bravest runners would attempt something crazy like that. So now we have Tower Knight. Again, we're going to do homing Soul Ray and Soul Ray combo. He can do some unfriendly stuff as well. Sometimes his what do you call that? A lance? Sometimes his lance and his shield can intercept the spells. And then also there's like 12 archers up on the ramparts shooting down at you the whole time. And so Duke did some fancy footwork there at the end to dodge those arrows and avoid dying at the end of the fight. Another one down. Now we're back to the Nexus, and this is, I believe, going to be our final level up, right?
yeah, this is the final level up.
We get to 45 magic, which is very important for being able to take out some of the bosses later on in a low number of cycles. And I see Duke's also going to buy some fresh spice here. That's just for safety.
Yeah, this
It'll
is
allow him
totally
to
for
cast
marathon.
some extra spells.
But ideally, you don't lose time there buying those spice, because you have enough to finish the run. I just bought because since I'm gonna do some safe strats, I want to be with more magic, more mana.
Yeah, trying to keep that kill count somewhere in reasonable territory. I think I heard 30 is someone's wager, so we'll do what we can. Here we have another repeat of our boulder skip. You can basically just roll, and it's kind of funny because you still get the animation like you got run over by a flaming boulder and caught on fire, but it doesn't actually do any damage if you die there, so that's kind of nice. Now we have a long, pretty sketchy running section. There's a lot going on here, lots of enemies. One really important aspect of this map is controlling aggro. So we use the Thief Ring. You can also cast Cloak at a few points, both of which affect enemy aggro to different degrees. I think I usually just do Thief Ring the whole way through. Some people like to Cloak for extra safety. So we'll see how Duke plays it here. it's a little scary towards the end, especially because going into the next fight, we need to set up Clever Rat Ring, which, as you may remember, means we need to lower our HP significantly. And when your HP is very low, you are very liable to die in one hit. And there are a lot of enemies here who would just love to complete the business here. That was really scary.
And also, I never saw that guy there, but okay.
Yeah, I've never seen that happen before. Classic, classic marathon luck, something you've never seen before, but I don't know. That's kind of what it's all about. Really good setup there. That was actually really fast. So we take a couple of intentional crossbow bolts there, and that's gonna allow us to be in Clever Rat territory. Now we have that scary part I mentioned. We're gonna be making our way down this final gauntlet. And these Red Eye Knights up here are a major problem. They can be a frequent run killer. You want to have your shield out. You want to be ready for basically anything. And this guy's not letting us get away easy.
Okay.
Okay, nice. We made it. Nicely done. That's a really sketchy part, so great reaction there. Now we have the Penetrator. Get your Penetrator jokes in while you got a chance, because he's not going to be around for very long. We're going to cast an HSA. And another one. And that's it. He has penetrated his last.
This is actually also a manip. Like, the way you enter the fight and the way you cast a magic on the right spot makes him positioning like that.
That's a good thing to point out.
Like, if spells feel broken in this game.
Yeah, the damage is pretty absurd. But like Duke mentioned, there is some precision to those fights, because even though we only need to hit him with 2 spells, if you're not standing in exactly the right part of the arena, he'll just face tank the first spell and then can hit you with an attack while you're trying to cast the second one. And then you basically just lost 3.5 minutes of running through that level. So there's a couple other fights like that too, where the getting the damage off is really easy, but doing it in a way that's fast and doesn't get you hit by the boss and killed, since our health is so low, can require some pretty precise placement. Shout out to our world record holder, Blanks, who also ran Liza P earlier today, who has a couple really good tutorial videos on YouTube about that positioning issue. If anybody's thinking of picking up this run, I highly recommend watching Blanks' videos, because he has some really good explainers on the boss strategies. Really good pathing there, Duke. We made it past the dragon. That part, I feel like I've been saying this over and over, but that part also can be very sketchy. So it's good that we made it through there. And now we have this clown, Ostrava. He's got some funny ideas about that kill counter, doesn't he? Oh my god.
Yeah, I dodged to the wrong side, and then I panic dodged again, and it's working, so okay.
Well, I don't know. All I have to say to Ostrava is, oops, you died.
Let's go. He said the thing.
We said the thing. And now we're in the elevator. I call this the hydration elevator, because usually by the time I get to this elevator, my heart rate is about 300 beats a minute, and I have to like take some deep breaths and drink some water and just try to compose myself before this next boss, which is also scary. We have a good like 20-30 seconds here on this elevator where you can catch your breath, which is honestly kind of nice, even though it's not the best thing for speed. I also want to give a shout out here to Expiravit. That's our main glitch hunter. We've kind of all collaborated on finding a lot of glitches in this run, but most of the really broken tech that we use came from X. So shout out to him for really developing the run over the past few years and finding things like bow tech and slow loading and all sorts of different stuff. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to find a way to skip the elevator. So now we're here in the Elant fight. There's a lot you could talk about with this fight, but he's gonna give us really good RNG. Oh no, we ran out of mana.
Yeah, I didn't got the. It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. Just a small time loss there. He's actually giving us pretty good RNG, so.
Yeah, like.
And there he goes.
I said what the fuck, because it was like the perfect RNG, but I messed it up. So
Yeah. What you really want to see in that fight is that tornado attack where he sort of pauses and sucks in the winds for a big nuclear blast. You can punish that really well with homing soul arrow. But again, that fight requires some pretty precise reactions. It's also kind of broken. Interestingly, Bluepoint did not fix some extremely 2009 aspects of King Alant's coding. There's some things he can do where he just glitches into an insta dash and can just sort of appear with his sword in your face. So very thankful that he behaved himself that time and we were able to recover from the low mana without too much trouble. Now we're making our way through Stonefang Tunnel. We have a really cool skip coming up here. I would say probably my favorite thing about running this game is how much out of bounds we get to see in the speedrun. Bluepoint, whatever you think about the original versus the remake, Bluepoint built some really beautiful environments for this game, and we get to see them from all kinds of crazy angles. For example, here we have this skip where we do some parkour on the stairs, and then we can run out of bounds. And what we're going to do here is quit out a couple times out of bounds, and just like in the beginning, we're going to trick the game into thinking that we're in the next area, and then we're going to run up that kill counter on purpose one more time, and when we spawn in, we're going to be right behind the next boss that we need to kill. Oh, I thought you got the quick one for a second there.
yeah, I didn't got it, but okay.
And here we're behind the armored spider. We're going to hit him with a few spells, and that's it. He doesn't even get a chance to see what's coming. That's a really cool skip, being able to spawn you right behind the boss like that.
Will there ever be a boss that can actually hit Duclear?
Well, I have good news for you, Jiggy. Bad news for Duclear. We're on our way to the Flame Lurker now, and we're going to do another quit out here using the Cat Ring. This is similar to the slope quit out that we saw back in the swamp, but basically we're going to leap to our death with the Cat Ring equipped, and then by quitting out, the game is just going to place us gingerly down on the bottom of this pit. And then we just run into the Flame Lurker. This is another boss that has a very precise positioning aspect. He only takes a couple homing soul arrows to take down, but depending on where you stand and some factors that we've almost completely figured out, but not all the way, he can really misbehave sometimes. So hopefully he's good this time. He's not being good this time. Looks like good recovery from Duke. Really, really nice technique there. He's turning around so that homing soul arrow doesn't fire until he's in position. Excellent job there, Duke. Great play there.
Thanks.
Insanity.
And if you guys think that I like not fighting bosses, wait for an unrestricted run, because Boltec allows you to freeze like almost all the bosses in the run. So
yeah, we in the unrestricted category, let me think. We freeze Tower Knight, we freeze Alant, we freeze Flame Lurker. You can even freeze Leechmonger if you just really want to be irreverent to the Leechmonger.
yeah.
So we almost have it down to like a low percent where you actually trigger like a minimal number of bosses. Also, one other quick plug, Berto Please, I believe, has a series on YouTube of cheesing all bosses where he shows off this and some other techniques that are a little slower but also allow you to just totally break the intended fight structure of the game. Now we're making our way into Dragon God. This is a puzzle boss, kind of. It's mainly based on timing. You probably noticed us running casually through some of those columns. That's again using the slow loading technique so that they don't have collision. But these columns here do have collision loaded in by the time we get here. So Duke is going to do some very precise stamina management and hopefully not alert the boss to the fact that we are shooting him in the face with gigantic ballista. Really well done there. Perfect fight. We should be able to take him out with one more shot. And
I'm going to try to do the... Yeah, I'm going to try to do the slope home soul arrow. So.
Oh, you're just showing off now.
Yeah, let's see if I can get it.
Yeah, he's got another little sliver of HP. We got to hit him on the chin.
Oh, I didn't got it.
And
okay.
Yeah, there's a little trick there where you can cast the homing soul arrow while you're sliding down a slope. Didn't quite get it there, but no big deal. I don't even know if it saves time. It just looks cool.
Yeah, it looks cool.
So now we're coming up on the home stretch, chat. We have one more archdemon to take out, and we're going to get there again in a really cool out-of-bounds sort of fashion. This leg of the run has gone through so many different iterations as different glitches and different tricks and different paths have been discovered. At one point, we were doing this really sketchy kind of cat ring quit out leap thing that could get you soft locked. At one point, we were running through the level normally. In the unrestricted category, you actually can glitch through the adjudicator arena and do some totally insane out of bounds pathing down to this part and not fight adjudicator at all. But for this category, what we're going to do is enter this area, go up, wrap around, and then by leaping off at a very specific spot with the cat ring equipped and quitting out, we can again trick the game into thinking that we quit out in this boss arena, and boom, we just skip that entire crazy cave with the laser guys. We don't even enter the old hero arena, and here we are at our final archdemon, the Storm King. That skip is affectionately called Nuclear Skip because our very own runner was the one who found it. He found it working together with another very PogChamp Demon Souls runner, Not a Giraffe, who discovered that you could put a couple different segments together of that skip in order to break it even more in unrestricted. So here's Storm King. This is another kind of gimmicky boss. It's on a timer, and it's also based on how many of these little mantas we kill. So what Duke needed to do there was intentionally take two of their little bolts. Oh no! Oh, that's bad luck.
Really?
I was just thinking this run was going so perfectly. No weird marathon stuff at all, and then here we are. Oh,
it's
man.
okay. It's okay. 24 is good. We like 24. 24 is a good number.
24, nice round number, divides by a lot. You know, you love to see it.
There's no better number than 24.
What if we get to 25? Then what do we do?
Don't talk to me, Carter. Don't talk to me. Don't even look at me, Carter.
But yeah, I mean that's classic Storm King. Sometimes that fight just has too much going on. There is basically nothing you could do to avoid getting sniped in the back there.
I miss it. And I also need to set up my right ring inside the fight. So
yeah, so that's another tricky thing about doing this skip is you have to intentionally take damage with. You actually have to take damage with your shirt off because otherwise it doesn't put you in clever rat territory. And if you have no clothes on, then it will just kill you. So there's a interesting little aspect here of Fashion Souls actually being speed, which is kind of fun.
Oops.
So here we need to take one hit. Yeah, pants only speed run.
Yeah, oops only pants.
Oops no shirt. And then we equip the Thief Ring. There's our 6th Manta, and hopefully our run up to the big boss is a little more favorable this time. You can see Duke zigzagging here to make sure that we don't take any more of those green bolts to the back, because that was not very cool. And now what we're gonna do, we're going for the Storm Ruler. This is kind of hype. There's a couple of different ways you can take down the boss. You can do it purely by casting Soul Rays. The intended way to fight this boss is to grab this Storm Ruler. This is kind of a early iteration of other FromSoft fights that they would develop later, and fights like Yorm and some others where you have to get a specific weapon. But basically what we can do here is shoot the boss 3 times with Soul Ray and then hit him with a Storm Ruler, and that is it.
okay.
Deep breaths, Duke. We made it.
I just had one death, so it's okay.
Yeah, that was great. And now we are going to talk to the Maiden. She's going to teleport us down to the Old One's lair, and we're going to make our way to the final boss, which is really kind of a victory lap. I haven't seen any Demon Souls runners die to this boss at the end of a run yet, but, you know, stranger things have happened.
I actually died on Soul Level 1, but...
you know, Carter, it's because I haven't played Demon Souls yet. I'm gonna be the
Yeah,
first.
We got to get Jiggy in there for the insane
do-
true King Allant death.
Yeah, I'm gonna go do Demon Souls any percent, but die to the final boss. That's the category.
Yeah, it's really kind of a victory lap in theory. We're gonna cast some homing soul arrows, couple of soul rays, take him out. Sometimes we do an ending incentive. There's 2 endings to Demon Souls. There's a good one and a bad one, and unfortunately, the bad one is a little faster. So the Maiden in Black is gonna roll up into the arena and thank us for slaying all those archdemons like she asked, and then we're just gonna roll up behind her and stab her in the back. And time is gonna be... Yeah, time's here.
Sorry about the timer, I forgot, but...
Great job, Duclear. That was an amazing run.
Yeah, I died just one time, so and I was very anxious because this is my first time. I mean, I played on events before, but this is probably the hugest event that I'm playing, so I'm all good now.
Yeah, and like I'm sure you all saw, it's a very fast-paced run. It can be stressful, even though the damage is pretty nuts. There's just so much happening so fast. I mean, we kill every boss in the game pretty much, minus a couple, in like 30 or 40 minutes. So really exciting run.
Yeah,
Really
also...
great run. Thank you so much, Duclear.
No, thank you. But just to say our last thing, if I can say, it's that like I know the bosses are like kind of easy if you know what I mean. It's mass, but every time you die on this run, the run to the boss again, it's like really long. So that's why I was afraid of the estimate, because if you die on Dirt Colossus, on Allant, or any other boss, actually, you need to run the entire segment to the boss. So it's a huge time loss.
Yeah, the stakes are very high.
Yeah. But
Absolutely.
thanks,
Yeah,
Carter.
that was only
Thanks,
one.
Jiggy.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was only one death, so that was pretty, like, one real death, not intended, so pretty incredible there, Duclear. Thank you so much for that run. That was absolutely incredible. Everyone that's watching here, please go give Duclear a follow. You can look at their name. It's right on the title of the show. Just hover over it and give them a follow. Duclear, what are you doing on your stream? I know you do a lot of Demon Souls, but what else are you doing?
Well, I'm actually doing some varieties of another speedruns, and now I'm more into some RPGs like Final Fantasy, Chrono Trigger, and some Pokemons, Yu-Gi-Ohs, but probably I'll be back to some Souls later. So that's it. Bring more Souls, like Berto said. And let's go, guys. Good luck, the next runners.
Cool. Yes, and Carter, thank you so much for the incredible commentary. Carter, what do you do on your show, and what should they expect when they follow you?
Yeah, my channel's Carter, aka right now I'm working on a casual playthrough of Nine Sols, which if anyone's not familiar, that's a indie 2D Sekiro-like Metroidvania. It's really fun. It's got really, really good combat, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I also do speedruns. I mainly run Demon Souls Remake. I've been semi-retired for a little while, but always thinking about going back to improve that PB. And I've also ran Bloodborne and a couple other Souls games as well. So feel free to throw us a follow. Also, if you like what you see and you're interested in picking up Demon Souls speedrunning, hop over to the Souls Speedruns Discord, which I'm sure has been plugged throughout the event. We are always really happy to introduce new runners to the game and answer questions. We have some route notes written up and a lot of other good resources for glitch hunting and learning skips and that kind of thing. We are a small but mighty gang and would love to have some new blood, so bring more souls.
All right. Well, thank you once again, Duclear and Carter. Don't go anywhere. Oops, you died. We still have two more runs left of the day. Up next, we got Sekiro with Park and Harbor. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.